everybody, welcome. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is a special episode of Put Together Conversations. Thank you for joining us. I know we're not normally here on Friday nights, but I have a special guest tonight, and I wanted to make some time, make sure that he was able to be on the show. Those of you joining us on Facebook, thank you for watching on either one of the 4 channels. Make sure that you like this video and share this with your friends. Let them partake of the enjoyment. If you're watching us on LinkedIn, please like the video. You can also share on your page. Make sure that other folks will watch it. If you're on YouTube, will you do us a favor? Scroll down there and hit that subscribe button and make sure you like our videos. And everybody on Twitter, thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching. You can also retweet this if you like. You can be part of the conversation, so make sure you join us throughout the show with your comments, questions, and I'll make sure that my guests hear your questions and answer them. We'll make sure that you are part of the conversation as well. My guest today is somebody, he's been on the show before. He was on the original series of conversations in 2019. Over the last several years, he's become a really good friend. I won't say this when he's around because it'll go to his head, but he's a great motivator. He's a great source of inspiration for me. I really enjoy throwing some ideas at him, and I like watching his career just flourish because it gives me the energy to do part of my work, and part of what we're doing now is inspired in part by him. So I totally appreciate his friendship. He's also part of a little mastermind group that I belong to, which is really cool. So I want to send a big shout out to Jennifer, Fabiola, and Bridget, who are part of our mastermind group, and they are 3 fabulous women that also inspire and motivate me. And I'm sure they motivate Pritesh too. So I'm going to talk about Pritesh. Pritesh, let me read you his bio. Pritesh Shah, son of Indian immigrants, has a degree in accounting. He quit his job before he even started. Now lives with a 15-pound Maltipoo named Bella, and he meditates. He's very LA. Pritesh Shah has quickly become a prolific actor, producer, and comedian. He cut his teeth as a stand-up comic in Southern California, where he was mentored by Chad Coleman and performed at nightclubs throughout Southern California. Pritesh has appeared on dozens of television shows, including Grimm, Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, Game of Silence. He had a recurring role on the Emmy-nominated 6 on the History Channel and the upcoming pilot of The Walking Dead. And that's why I wore the shirt today. The World Beyond on the big screen. He had scene-stealing roles in Tie the Knot with Tara Reid, Wizardry with Ernie Hudson, and All in Time with Vanessa Ray. He produced the indie comedy Fishbowl, California, and starred in The Black Gondola with J.K. Simmons, Johnny Depp, and was directed by Sam Raimi. A horror film called Warnings, where he played Rashad, the comic relief, was just released on Amazon Prime. Most recently, he released a short film, Invisible Brown Man, on YouTube, which is why we're here today. It's a dramedy about the tokenism and diversity casting. A scene from the film has gone viral with almost 7 million views. And we have that clip here, so we're going to, before I bring him on, we're going to watch that clip so we can talk about it. And here it is.
Oh.
Oops.
Women, stop fingering me, okay?
What did you just say, Dad?
Your mother. She always fingers me, every day.
Papa, that's not what that
So
means.
what are you trying to say? That she can finger me, but I cannot finger her?
That's definitely not what that means.
Hey, I am the head of the household. I can finger anybody I want. I can finger anybody in this restaurant. You. No, not you.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. We're going to play that again because something happened with the video, but we'll replay it. So we're going to bring him on. One of my good buddies, great actor, great comedian, and definitely a good friend, Mr. Pritesh Shah. Hello, sir.
What up?
How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Always a pleasure, man. You were part of the original gentlemen that were part of that first series of conversations when we were doing it last year.
When you were doing that podcast, right?
Yeah, so we were doing the podcast, and then we would throw these out there as just little nuggets of live stream stuff. It was when I was still doing with the live stream, like how I wanted it to work. But I'm so appreciative because you along with life coach Tommy, for those of you that remember, and Guy Noland and Kai Kalama were part of that first group that just gave me a chance to like practice with you guys. And this is the fruit of what that was. So I appreciate it.
Now I'm proud of you, man. You're doing the damn thing.
Gotta do what I gotta do. Little Mexican gotta work somehow. So
I love how you're wearing the Walking Dead shirt because I got on the original Walking Dead, the guy who played Tyrese, Chad Coleman, was my good friend. He gave me this. I cried when you died. The Walking Dead.
Well, when in one of the seasons, I remember if it was the second season or something of the Walking Dead, I did a promotion for them at Comic-Con
Really?
in San Diego, and these were the shirts that they gave
Must
us.
have been insane.
It was crazy because it was this maze, and you would get to a point, and it would like split. So you either chose left or right, and then at some point it would split. I'm going to tell this behind the story. I was the manager in charge of that event, and there was some guy in costume who kept like walking around, like following me. It's like, so what's your name? So what do you do here? And I was like, are you flirting with me? And this is before I met Christian, and he was like, do you like dead guys? And I was like, okay, that's cute. We never went out. We were supposed to go out, but we did. But I don't date dead people, so that's.
There you go. You like them a lot, baby.
I have some standards.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll play that clip again. That's the clip that you send me, and we're going to play it again in just a minute to talk about it. But for folks that don't know you, and we can add more to this, to your bio. Can I tell the story? Because I always tell the stories when I'm talking.
How you met me?
I met you.
Yeah, go.
I always share the story, but you know what? The story has taken a new meaning for me, and it was very symbolic. It was one of those. It was a point in my life that I look back now, and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not in that space anymore. I don't live in that energy anymore. So for those of you watching, we've shared this story plenty of times. If you go back and watch the videos, Cameron, who was originally how we met, I was doing another moment that you've been a part of a lot of instrumental moments in my life, which is really interesting. The original pre-show show is where I met you. I was doing the pre-show show for Cameron for one of his events, and I was hosting the event, the live stream, interviewing comics, and everybody was instructed to be there early so they could be interviewed. And I did not know any of them personally. So Pritesh comes walking in all sassy, late, and I must have given him the most nastiest look ever. that only a Catholic gay man could probably produce.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I didn't talk to you. I was like, you're late. Screw you. Whatever. You're not on my show. So I go and sit down, and you come on stage, and Christian's like, he is so funny. You need to interview him. And I was like, I hate him. Like, I don't want to talk to him. But you were at an event. You were at
I literally, because I already told the person that I was going to be late because I had a premiere to go to right before. So it was cutting close. And so, unlike you, he was aware that I was going to be late. So he didn't have no judgment, did he now? But yeah, that was interesting. And
so, yes, judging me, I was like, whatever. He thinks he's too good. Whatever, dude. And then, but that was the beginning of this time in my life where I was like, if you meet somebody and there's something you don't like, talk to them. Figure out why you don't like them. Because my growing up in recovery has been about that. Is like, what mirror are you putting in front of me that I'm seeing myself that I don't like? And there was something about you, and I was like, gotta confront it, man. Gotta confront it. So I went up to you, gave you my card. I'm like, hey, will you be on my podcast? And you're like, and I was like, I was expecting you to be like, whatever. And I was like, and I could be like, well, whatever, dude. But you were like, yeah, sure. Like, just email me. Like, and I was like, oh, man, you have to be nice. Like, screw you, cash. And then he came on the show. You were super awesome. I invited you back, and now I don't let it go to your head, but I consider you one of my closest friends because we've shared a lot of.
Absolutely.
So that's how I met Pritesh. I want folks to hear a little bit of your story before we talk about.
Well, I mean, you said a lot about in the bio. I mean, obviously, I've been here for like a decade, man. You know, time flies. Time really flies when you're in the business, especially. But moved here from San Diego, and you know, I've had an interesting journey because I started off doing stand-up comedy was by chance. Chad Coleman. One time I met him. He was like swimming in a pool, and I was just talking crap to him, you know. And he's like, "Man, you funny as hell." That's how he sounds too. "Man, you funny as hell." He said, "You ever do stand-up?" I was like, "No, I do improv." He's like, "I'm taking you to Laugh Factory." I was like, "Okay." Now, I didn't really know who he was at the time. I didn't know he was on The Wire and that he was famous, right? So we got a Laugh Factory Chocolate Sundays. That's the name of the show. And everyone knew him. I was like, who the heck is this guy? Like, everyone knew him. So we're sitting down having a good time. He's buying drinks. We're having a good time with everybody. The guy gets on stage. It's Chris Rock's brother, Tony Rock. And he's like, this is all by chance, right? He goes, does anyone in the audience want to get up on stage and do something? And Chad's like, this dude right here does. And I was like, no, I've never done stand up in my life. It's packed audience at Laugh Factory. Are you kidding me? He's like, get up there. I was like, shit. So I get up on stage. I take the mic. It's probably one of my best sets I've ever done, you know, just 5 minutes of talking shit. And it was like standing ovation, and it was crazy. And after the show, Chad takes me up. I meet all the comics, and they're like, you do this, right? I was like, no, I've never done this. They're like, you need to do this. Like, you have to do this. But it was because of Chad. I was lucky enough to skip all the open mics, and I got straight to he would just put me on stage. He'd go to all the shows, and he'd just be like, get on stage, put this kid on stage. So it's like one of those moments where you get someone who backs you, right? He's just always been such a great backer of mine. I'm very thankful for that. So I got to skip a lot of steps in that world. And I was doing a lot of stand-up and things like that. And I was doing like a lot of print work. And then slowly I was doing non-union work, and then industrials, and then commercials, and TV. And I just been lucky with the journey of it. But obviously now it's come to fruition with this short film, Invisible Brown Man, that I decided to, you know, release on YouTube back in February. And even how that came together. My writing partner and I, we wrote a feature film. And we were sending out to competitions in 2019 and doing really well. And we were at one competition, because we did so well, they invited him and I to MGM for like this diversity event. We're sitting at this diversity event, and you know, after all the events, everyone always goes up to the people speaking like, oh my God, when can I email you? And it's like all the kiss assing. It's just not my style, right? Yeah, Daniels. So I just can't, it's not my style. So I was like, I'm not going to wait in line and waste these guys' times and keep trying to bother them to like look at my email and stuff, right? So I'm walking out, and I'm making fun of one of my girlfriends. I'm just talking crap to her, just being me. And all I hear is a guy laughing behind me. I'm like, who's laughing behind me? Happens to be the president of MGM, right? And we just, because he thought I was funny, we were just talking, and we got to know him, and I told him my story, my feature. And I told him it was about, I told him a few things, and this is the word that stuck out. And this is an example for people watching, is you never know what's going to trigger someone, right? So when I said, you know, the story's about male objectification. He literally paused. He goes, male objectification? I said, yeah, I'm like, I think the narrative that is just a thing that happens to women, it's a societal issue we have regardless of what gender you are. And I've been objectified a lot in this business as well. And a lot of people can tell you similar stories. And he goes, wow, he got really intrigued by that. So he gives me his email. He goes, I want you to make a short film, and I want you to email me personally. I'm like, okay, all right. Okay. You know, when someone tells you that, you freaking do it. So that was the inspiration to start the short, you know, get the short going. And then my writing partner and I, we started putting a short together. We got a team together. We already had like an Emmy nominated director ready to roll. Roxy, she was incredible. When she read the script, she wanted to do it. I need an investor though, dude. You know, investor's not easy to come by. And this guy I met in Australia 15 years before hit me up on Facebook. He's like, hey, I'm coming to town. I'm like, cool. I don't know him that well. And then he's like, hey, I bought 10 tickets to your comedy show. I'm like, awesome. Bring in friends. Cool. We talk after the show. And I'm like, look, man, let's get coffee tomorrow. Let's actually just have a real conversation. We go get coffee. He's telling me his story. He's like, look, man, I used to do, you know, he's like, I took mushrooms. I was like, what am I doing with my life? I sold everything I owned, and I had just had like a big spiritual awakening, and I just want to help people. And I'm going into hemp farming and investing in crypto, and he's just killing it. So I'm telling you my story and my spiritual evolution, and how I want to bring like spirituality and depth into my creativity and my art. And I told him, I was like, you know, I'm putting a business plan together for my short film. He literally goes, how much do you need? I'm like, I told him, and he literally over coffee gave it to me. So it's just wild. The whole pandemic too. We filmed 3 weeks before the pandemic. You know, that's from above. You can't plan that. So just very fortunate. And then the film came out. We were obviously in post-production most of last year, got done like September. And then decided to release it on YouTube because of the pandemic, with you not being able to travel to film festivals and doing everything on Zoom and so forth. For me, it felt like my best opportunity for me was to put it out on YouTube. So that's what I did. And then you never know again, man. I never really used TikTok. I put this fingering scene, the lunch scene on TikTok. Some guy stole it from my account and it went viral, but I didn't get credit for it, right? It blew up his account and it got 5.7 million views, 780,000 likes, 110,000 shares and counting. But the thing is that I talked to him and he did it on accident. It's the second video he's ever done. He had no idea how to use it. He was incredibly apologetic and tried to make up for it and was very honest and forthcoming, and it's all good. But then in the end, I have the numbers. So when I'm trying to sell it as a show, I have the numbers, right? It doesn't matter what account it came from. So that's where we're at right now, man. Right now, we're just in the middle of putting the TV show pitch together. Sorry, Sudryer. But
yeah, folks, that's the time. Thank you for being here.
But yeah, man, that's where we're at right now.
Well, before I ask you the next question, let me remind everybody you're watching Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel T. Garza, and my guest today is a friend of mine, actor and comedian, Pritesh Shah, and we're talking about his new short pilot, The Visible Brown Man. We're going to show the clip in just a minute, but before I continue, because I definitely remember, like, you just talking about taking those chances, but have you always been a let's take the opportunity as it comes, or when did that start?
I think it was a pivotal point for me. I mean, look, one was just moving to LA to pursue acting, right? I quit my job before I was about to start. I have a degree in accounting and a minor in English, and I quit everything and I moved to LA, and my mom and my sister were about it. My dad wasn't, the community didn't support me. There was a lot of things and layers that I had to go. And I still think about that version of me, man, back in 2009. I don't know how that version of me had that much courage. It's scary to think about that decision I made, but it was like, you get the whispers in you. You just know that's what you have to do. And I listened, and I'm thankful I did. But ever since then, it was always like, look, you got to jump off the cliff in order to be caught. Like you unless you jump off the cliff, you don't know if you're going to fly. And even if you don't, like, you just have to know someone's going to save you, because otherwise you get too, I think in society in general, we've been raised to be scared, and always play it so safe. And we're so obsessed with security. Everything's about security. It's whether it's your retirement or the job that's not good for you, the relationship that's no longer working, or the house, or whatever it may be. There's a million variables. And the reality is, like, all of us could just go walk tomorrow and get hit by a bus. Like, there is no security. You don't know, right? And that kind of always plays with me. And it's all those things have gotten me this far, right? It's been exciting. It's been new. I think I wouldn't encourage people to do it unconsciously. I think you do it consciously. You're not being straight up stupid about it. But there is an energy to that conscious flow where, okay, I've put all my eggs in the basket, and then we're going to see where they fall, and I'm going to see what opportunities come my way. If you do it from a perspective of connectivity, you're conscious about it. It's your truth, and it's coming from a place of love. Something always comes about. Now, it might not always be what you envisioned, but that's okay, because what you envision is always limiting also, because you don't know everything. Like, if you get so caught up with this happening with what I want to do, but you don't know that there could be this opportunity. You could be chasing this certain individual or wanting to date this person, not knowing that there's another person that's better suited for you that you've never met before. So, sometimes we have to be really mindful of how limited we are with our perceptions, right? And I learned that a lot. So I put it out there, and I don't know what the answers are. I'm just kind of open to what kind of comes.
So before we continue, do you mind if we play the official trailer? Because I have the official trailer.
Yeah, go for it. Is it going to work this time, Daniel? Shoot. Exactly. Each race to be hot at any one time in Hollywood.
You're just too
Yeah, I
attractive.
think it just freezes a lot.
Want something more ethnic.
Same thing. Yeah. Welcome to ShopRite. How can I help you today? You mean do an Indian accent?
That would be perfect.
Everyone's got to eat, right?
I'm not sure what happened. We were testing. It's your energy, dude, because we were testing these in the pre-production, and yeah, he's.
Yeah, look at this. Well, I think it's because through StreamYard sometimes it may do that. I've done another interview on StreamYard and it worked fine, but I don't know if it can handle. I don't know. It might be just the internet.
Yeah, it's all.
Pay your
He
bill,
was
bro.
late too. He was
Yeah,
late.
no, I was up. Pay your bill, Daniel.
You know what? He was late. We were supposed to test this while he was here earlier in the pre-production meeting, but he decides because he's
I
LA
forgot.
now
I'm sorry.
to show up like 3 minutes before, which he knows I'm having a fit here. So, but we will post this on the Put It Together page. So if you guys want to go, if you want to go over to the Put It Together conversations page on Facebook, we will put both videos up there so you folks can watch it. So,
What up, Steven?
Steven is also an actor and friend, so he does a lot of theater.
Oh,
So cool. Thank you for watching again. Well, part of this, putting it together is I also wanted you to talk to folks who, because 2020 gave opportunities for a lot of people to go after their passions, to try and follow their dreams and their goals. And maybe you could shed some light on this, maybe not the steps by steps, but those important moments where you were like, okay, I'm going to work on my thing next year. Because you talk to this person who's like, hey, I want to do it. Like, here's the money. And then you talk to somebody high up in the production, and they're like, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. But then there's still you. Like, you really have to be, you know what I mean? Like, the universe can line up everything for you. But if you don't do it, so what were the voices or the messages that you got that pushed you to do it? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, I had certain good teammates. My writing partner, Dennis Fallon, man, is just incredible. What a blessing he is. He's like an angel in my life, man. And he's killing it. I mean, he has some big scripts out and they're going to be made. I mean, everyone's going to know his name pretty soon too, especially in the writing world. So there was a lot of support and insight in someone who's dealing with the biggest directors and big agencies. So I just had a partner give me a lot of feedback and confidence in my vision. But to answer your question deeper, I've had to say a lot of no's, Daniel, and I'm not saying like in this business you get rejected a lot, but I've turned down a lot of, I had to come to a point. I'm like, what am I trying to do and why am I doing it? Right now, this is from a little place of privilege because luckily I was able to work enough and be financially secure enough where I didn't have to take a gig just for the money. Obviously, I'm not turning down a gig that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But if you're doing a gig that's like $200 a day and I know what didn't fit me, then I was in a privilege where I could turn that down, right? And I really had to focus on what am I saying? Like, okay, it's one thing to act, but what story is this am I telling? Is it even good? And is this the type of story that I want to tell? And if it didn't fit me or I was not interested in it, I've turned it down. Literally, like in the last 2 months, I turned down a movie. I turned down an audition literally yesterday. I turned down another audition my agent got me. And I turned down another film because after putting this out, and this is not coming from a place that I'm too good for it. It was more of like, I don't want to be associated with work that I don't feel passionate about, and I definitely don't want to be a part of work that I feel like is saying or a narrative that I don't think is conscious, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I felt like I was getting stuff or auditions where it's like, I got an audition where it's like, this character is an Indian accent. Nothing wrong with the Indian accent. I've done it before, but there better be a real character behind it. And when I read the script and I feel like there's no character, and then why am I playing this guy, right? And so I'm definitely at a point now where I'll turn something like that down. And so the voices in my head, the motivation is like, the thing is like, I stay on course, but while I'm staying on course, I'm open to magic, if that makes sense, right? But I also know that like, I know my course. Like the universe isn't telling me to, hey, don't be an actor, go be a basketball player. Like, that's not the universe. That would be my colluded mind, right? I know what I know this world that I've entered, and I know that's what's meant for me. But at the same time, I know I'm a content creator. I know I write, I do stand up. These are the types of stories I want to tell, like Invisible Brown Man, that get people thinking and really settle a narrative about just humanity and connection, vulnerability, but also to bring up issues that we have in society, things that I've faced, but also coming at it from an empowered place. But too many times it's coming out from such a victim mentality, and that's not a solution oriented, right? And that's not an attack. Look, we all have victim mentality at times. Every single one of us, me included. We all go through like, boo-hoo, this sucks. It sucks to be me. The world hates me. We all have those moments. I'm not saying that's human, but solutions don't really come in those places, right? It's okay to have it, but solutions don't activate in that energy. And so for me, a lot of times when I'm watching stuff, whether it's a documentary or TV show, and they're talking about people of color or ethnicities or different genders or sexualities or whatever it may be, rarely do I see it coming from an empowered place. It's always like, this is how these people are affected. This is why it sucks. And it's everyone else's fault. But I'm like, the point of Invisible Brown Man was my character complaining and literally telling the truth of my character's experience in Hollywood. But if you remember that monologue at the end, he takes accountability because he's doing to these people exactly what he's complaining about that's being done to us. And we all do that. I mean, you talked about it. You didn't like me the first time you met me because it mirrored something in you that you were working on. So similarly, if I'm sitting here talking about, all white people do this and freaking white people, I'm like, well, I'm doing the same shit. I'm putting them into a group by their race or ethnicity, which white isn't even either of those, but we call it that. And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to somehow feel like I'm empowered. How am I empowered? I just talk shit about a group of people. I put them all together and acted like there's some enemy. And like, there's no solution that comes from having that mentality, right? So once I realized that those are the types of stories I want to tell, and that are right for me. Look, everyone has a story they want to tell. Mine's no better or worse than anyone's. I just know the stories I want to tell. And now I finally have the courage and the connections and the support system to kind of lead me down that path. And I'm just going towards it, man.
Cool. I want to, for everybody reminding, we're halfway through the show. You're watching Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza, and I'm talking to actor, comic producer, Mr. Pritesh Shah, about his new short pilot, Invisible Brown Man, and just talking about how we get to how we make our dreams a reality. And stick around. We're talking a lot about just perceptions and ideas. But you're totally right. I don't know if I forgot it. I didn't realize that we both moved to the LA area in 2009 because that's when I moved here too. But in the time that I've been in LA, I have played. I've said this before. I played 5 fruit vendors, and in 3 of those, because it was one of those like, do you have anything that's fruit vendor like wardrobe? And in 3 of the films, it's a TV show, a short film, and a feature, I'm wearing the same outfit. So somewhere down the line in my career, when I'm really famous, they're all going to appear. They're like, was this the same show? No. But I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be the fruit vendor with the accent, or I don't want to be the immigrant that is just there for comic relief. Like, I want to do more than that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like these are real characters. Nothing wrong with playing a fruit vendor. The problem is that when it becomes tokenized, there's no story or character behind it, right? So it's like a lot of times in Hollywood, what they do, and I talk about this in the film, is they'll just be like, okay, we need a black guy, we need a gay guy, we need an Asian guy, we need a lesbian, we need this, right? But those aren't stories. You're just putting it all in, so you hope no one gives you shit. But you don't actually care, right? And the thing is like, so the thing is like, look at my friends in my life. My friends in my life, all these types of people. I have friends that are 20 years old. I have friends that are 65 years old. I have friends that are all different sexualities, ethnicities, all different. I wasn't looking for them. I never said, hey, I need a friend who's Mexican and gay and who's dealt with freaking HIV. Like that wasn't what I was looking for. You weren't checking a box for me, right? So if you connect with people naturally, your life always automatically becomes very fruitful. It automatically looks different. if you're open to connecting with people for people. I have good friends that are girls. I have good friends that are guys. Like, I don't care. One of my best friends, he's gay. And it's like, I don't care. It didn't matter because I'm just connecting with them as people. And what happens is, if you write stories in such a way, all the minor things that we're fighting for will automatically be taken care of. Because that's not really the issue, right? It's not the fact that the show needs a gay guy. The show needs a real story that people can connect with. If it's told through a great gay lens, that's different. But just the gay lens itself is not the story. That's just the medium that we're seeing the story. Because the reality is, a gay guy's life and a white straight girl's life isn't that different. They just have different perspectives. Reality is, all of our lives are way more similar than they're different. We all have heartache. We all have dreams. We all have sorrows. We've all felt like shit. We've all had bullies. We've all have issues and trauma in our childhood. And all those things I talked about don't really give a damn on what your sexuality and what your race is. None of it gives a crap. It misses nobody. It misses nobody. I don't care how privileged you think someone is in Beverly Hills. That person has a lot of trauma. They too cry in their room. They too have shit. It might be different shit, and it might be a little less than someone who doesn't have it, but it doesn't matter. It's all perspective. Everyone has shit. So like, that's my thing. It's like, when we keep having these narratives in the media, and it's like, we think we're doing it for a good reason. And I'm not saying the intentions are bad. It's hard for me to get behind them, because in the end, it's like, people get excited and put your fists up, but you're still separating. So it's like, unless we get a narrative where we go, okay, we need to fix this issue. This is an issue. It is a problem. We need to fix it. Let's address this. But let's not also be anti something while we're addressing the issue, because it's just like fighting fire with fire. You end up with a bigger fire, right?
Yeah, we just talked about this in one of the episodes. Several years ago, we did a panel show on the podcast, and it was called Political Correctness or Polite Segregation. Because the way that I was looking at things, I think you and I talked about this at one point. Mm-hmm. The way that I looked at it was like, you can change the name, but if you don't change the story, you're just changing the names. I don't care if you call me Mexican, Latino, or Hispanic. If you're not giving me the respect that, or I'm not giving myself the respect that I feel I need, or it's still a title. You're still putting a title. And I think the last time we met up, I was talking about when I was on disability. That label carried so much weight on me. I believed it. I was disabled, but yet I had all these same ideas. I had all these projects, all these dreams and goals. The moment that title was taken away, something clicked in me. And then it took me a little while, because it's been over a year now. It took me a little to realize that was a title somebody gave me, and I had the option to accept it or not. And I accepted it, and I believed it, and I let it limit me for almost 20 years. And the moment that I was like, wait a minute, like, I can do everything I want to do. And this last year has been one of the most productive years I've had forever, a long time.
That's awesome, man.
Money, happiness, but I sure as hell would like to.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have more money now than I've ever had. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm a millionaire or anything, but luckily, I'm in a place where I'm not worried about food on the table, or, I was able to, I have my own condo and all that type of stuff. Yeah, Christian, it's like when Uber walks towards we're all sitting in their homes. Yeah, I get it, Yeah, I mean, well, no, it's not necessarily the same, but the thing is, like, it is in a way, though, right? Because if you look at depression and suicide rates, it's a privilege of the rich. So yeah, when we're looking at it from far away, you'd be like, oh, well, I drive a Toyota. That guy has a Lamborghini. He's going to be happier than me. And it's actually not true. But when you don't have it, this guy told me a while ago when I first came into because when we aspire to something, we idolize it and it becomes a dream because we don't have it. And we think that when you have that mentality, you think it's going to save you. You think it's going to bring you, like I always say this, materialism, a materialistic mentality. Some of the most materialistic people you meet are poor people that don't have money, right? Materialism is a mindset. It's not what you own. That's why you see people that aren't people that grow up in those types of demographics or systematically poor. Is that what do they buy? They're always the ones with Michael Jordan shoes. They got Jordans on. They got the PlayStation. Anytime they earn a penny, they spend it all on these extravagant brand name things because that's what we feed in the media, right? And there's this idea that this is going to be a source of happiness or the source of wealth, or it's going to make you feel a certain way, and you see it not. Like the moment you have security, a roof over your head, and food and the basic necessities, I think they said like once you make $70,000 a year, the level of happiness you get for more money than that is like negligible. So I see. So like it doesn't matter. Like so I'm friends with a lot of celebrities who have a lot of money, who live in big ass houses, and they're some of the most depressed little children you'll ever meet. I've literally talked to two while they were on the roofs of their home wanting to kill themselves. So this is no joke, right? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But my friend told me a long time ago, and this is a little funner story, but he was basically talking about women, right? And you see a lot of celebrities just obsessed with the materialism. You're just always dating models and kind of just vapid energy, right? And he's like, look, man, at a while, sometimes you want a Ferrari, and then you get the Ferrari, and the Ferrari's cool. You're like, damn, it's good to look at. But then after a while, you realize, man, it's expensive. It's not practical. You're always worried about it all the time. Like, did it get a scratch? Is it going to be okay? It doesn't work most of the time, and to fix it costs a lot. He goes, after a while, when you've had a Ferrari, you just really want the Camry again because it works. It's reliable. It's there for you. And you start realizing that, and that's why you see a lot of times when you see people that are celebrities or famous or whatever it may be, they revert back to normal people. Like you're like, why isn't they dating Halle Berry? No, he just wants the bartender around the corner because she's normal. Like, and I don't like to use the word normal like that, but she's just, hey, that's what's up. She with a Honda car, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you see that a lot, it's interesting. And I've had those lessons even where I'm at right now, where I'm like, most things are smoke and mirrors. Life is really like The Alchemist, bro. You live life, you travel, you have experiences, and you realize the gold was where you started. The journey was there, but the journey was not the gold. It was just for learning and to realize that you had it all in the beginning. And life's really just about enjoying time with people, with things you like to do, simple things. Hang out with people that you like to hang out with, and keep moving the body and do what you want. That's really what it's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. It just depends how you're making money, right? There's a lot of people who've sold themselves for the money, right? And they're miserable. It's always like, think about it. We live in a society that looks forward to Friday so they can go to happy hour. And we live in a society that doesn't want to start Monday. So you're literally telling, I would never, that's one thing I promise. I never want to live a life where it's only about the weekends. I don't want to live a weekend life. I want to live a life where Monday's awesome, Wednesday's awesome, Thursdays, every day's awesome. I don't know what's going to happen then. That's really what I've always wanted for myself, right? I didn't like the misery I saw so many people live in, where it's like literally Sunday afternoon, they're like, oh, man, I got work tomorrow. I'm like,
so many friends like
damn, that's a shitty way to live. Every week, that's how you feel?
People freak out because I usually have this standing Monday morning meeting, and I'm usually guys like, Monday morning, yeah, and they're all like, why? I'm like, because I'm excited to do the things that I love. Like I used to think it was really corny when people would say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I was like, screw you, whatever, dude. Until, and I know this is going to sound for some people, I'm like, again, yes, but it wasn't until cancer. It was post-cancer that I almost died. I was very sick. Mm-hmm. But post-cancer, looked at my life and went, and actually Christian, who's here in the thread talking, he was the one that sat me down when I was going to join, whether I was going to join the union or not, and he was like, if you're going to do this, do it right. Like, do it right. Like, follow your dream. And it was part of him, like pushing me and making me decide, like, why do I really want, do I want to continue to work on somebody else's dream and I've done this all my life, or am I going to invest in my dream? And even though sometimes it is kind of like, oh, I'm struggling a bit, but I still wake up and it's like, it's my dream that I'm going after, not somebody else's.
Well, that will motivate, exactly. And I think it's also different about what the dream is. I think sometimes we have to tell people that the dream's also ever evolving, right? I mean, when I was 5 years old, my dream was to be like an astronaut. That's not my dream anymore. Not that I failed it. That's all I knew at the time. So your dreams evolve as you age as well. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You just have to understand, are you only you know if you're giving up or you're living your truth. Only you know that, and it's no one else's business, to be honest. So I think sometimes, most of the time, and I mean not most, but a lot of times, a dream is a lie because you don't know, right? Like people think they get into acting because they think it's red carpets, parties, and life like that, and it's not. It's not that. It's not that. It's a 16-hour days, a lot of work, time away from your family. Like you gotta like that. You gotta like the craft. It's not all fun and games like that. So, and it can be fun. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot to it, right? People always seeing the final result, right? People seeing the NBA player on TV playing the game. They're not seeing the 20 years as a child practicing on the court, failing miserably and working their asses off to get there, right? So a lot of times you see, I'm sure you know people who've moved to LA to pursue this dream, bro, and then they leave. Do you know how many people I've had coffee with who've asked me to, like, can I pick your brain? Can I talk to you about the business? And I used to do it a lot. To be honest, now I just, like, I don't have time. Like, email me and I can answer some questions because, you know, I value my time way more and I'm way busier. But at the same time, it's like, how many times did I get coffee with people and then 2 months later they're gone? Well, nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I spent 2 hours talking about the business and stuff, and then you're gone, you know? It's like, it's not for everybody. Most of the people, like, in life, they're obsessed. They like the idea, but not actually what it is. It's always the idea. That's what fame is. The fame is, yeah, good vibes. The fame is, Michael J. Fox's book, Elephant in the Room, brilliant. And I think it was Man in the Mirror too. He had 2 books about it, but he talked about it in one, which kind of changed my perception. He said, fame's a bubble. It's a massive bubble. The people will leave you just as fast as they loved you because they don't care about you. They care about the idea of you, right? So when they see a character on a show, they're obsessed with the idea of you. When people are obsessed with LeBron because they have an idea that he's this great basketball player, guess what? LeBron's just a human being who happens to be really famous for playing basketball. He has a full-fledged life, and he's many, many things, right? So absolutely, Stephen, famous, fleeting. I have a lot of friends who've lost it, who just got it. And luckily, they're good friends of mine, so it doesn't change anything. But you just see the world around them change, and it's interesting, right? It's a lot of responsibility. I think, you know what's so funny is when we start seeing fame, really famous people, and we're like, oh my God, he's crazy. What was his trauma? He needs some help. He has some shit. True, maybe. But I think we forget the fact that maybe a lot of fame, incredible fame, is the trauma. I think that is also very traumatic, you know, and that's why most child stars don't make it out unscathed, right? Like, what do you expect? That is a lot of trauma when the whole world's looking at you. Like, privacy is innate for independent growth. And when you don't have privacy and people are under the microscope, you're on the under a microscope, you're going to go a little cuckoo.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's so much that you talked about, but going back to some of the original stuff you said, it's you have to learn to value, and I say this when I do public speaking, like, you have to learn to value the small moments in your life that you think are mean nothing. It's like some of my favorite moments during this whole year and a half of lockdown was hanging out with you and you know.
Likewise, when we had little get-togethers at our spot.
Like we have our little, and I tell people, I'm like, it's a mastermind group because we sit and we don't just talk about our personal lives. We're like, what are you working on? What are you doing? How can we support you? And everybody's like there, which is an awesome energy group.
Yeah.
But then with Christian, who's on the thread, one of my, I don't know if I've ever told him this, but one of my happiest moments with them, because we love making corn on the cob Mexican style, is we make corn and we're standing over the sink eating it and we're chatting. And for the couple of minutes, because it only takes a couple of minutes to finish it, but for the couple of minutes that we're standing there in the kitchen talking, it's just so intimate. It's just us. And it's such a beautiful moment. And so because then there's moments like this, and you're right. People think, well, it's just an internet show. Like, how long can it take you to put this together?
It's a lot of work. I know that. Yeah.
There's talking to guests, getting them booked, finding the date, getting their bios, getting their pictures, waiting for them to show up on time. But I'm like, I start sometimes at 6 a.m. and it's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm still on my computer, emailing people and contacting people.
Oh yeah,
but I loved it.
I know the struggle, man. I know it's not even a struggle, but it is a lot of work. Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm just able to do simple things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is one of those things. It's like, look, there's obviously benefits to it too, and society offers in those things. But you're right. Look, I'm getting way better because I'm terrible at appreciating small things. Not appreciating. I'm full of gratitude in that way. I know I'm very thankful for my life, but I can get caught up with things that I want to do or what I want. So like the present moment of simply enjoying some coffee or watching a TV show, I now really pay attention to being like, wow, this is an amazing moment. This is very relaxing. I'm having a good time. You know what I mean? Or hanging out, yeah, exactly.
I'm horrible at that. I'm horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure Christian's will probably chime in on this one. Let it go. Yes, but I when I was at Christian's, because here at home when I'm in Laguna Beach, it's not difficult for me to have the TV on and have the laptop, and I'm just kind of watching this. I'm paying attention to the show. I've made an effort when I'm at Christian's house to not have my phone, not have my laptop, unless it's something that I'm like, oh shit, I really got to do this before the morning, because I was missing out on a lot of stuff. But when you're trying to launch your brand and you're trying to be, when it's your company and you're like, I got to do this. Like, there is no delegating. Like I'm everything. Like you have to do everything.
I mean, you're always hustling. You're always busy doing stuff. But
because I like it. I
think so. I think sometimes people get it. I used to like it too. For me, I relax more because you have to know you, right? There's other people who need a lot of motivation to get up to do things. So it's important for them to stay active and make movements. For me, that's very natural. I'm a morning person. I wake up, I go to the gym. I'll make food. I'll get on the emails, whatever, phone calls, interviews, writing, email, whatever, auditions, whatever I have to do that day. But I'm a guy who just gets it all done. And then I have to remember to relax, to do nothing, to chill. And that's what I'm going to do after this is over. Just eat, relax, watch TV. I'm not going to be on my phone, laptop. When I'm at Darcy's, I feel very relaxed. Because at my place, I think about what I need to get done here. I'm just chilling, dude. Honestly, I get actually really tired here because that's where I relax, where I just get all my sleep back. So it's nice.
You drive by a gym.
Hey, Jim's my second home. I love it there.
Yeah, I think about my friend Jim. Does that count? For everybody watching, we're about 15 minutes before we're done with the show. My name is Daniel G. Garza, and my guest today is actor, comic, producer, Mr. Pritesh Shah. And we're talking about perceptions and careers and going after your dreams and goals. And we also, I don't know what happened, but we'll try to show the video. But we're talking about his pilot episode of
Invisible Brown Man, yeah.
And for those of you watching us, I will have the link, or you can go to the Putting Together Conversations page on Facebook, and I will put the links to the video there. But I will put the links to his YouTube page. And if you're watching the threads, I posted on all the threads already, so you can check those out. We have, Stephen has a question. Yes, Stephen, what's your question? Go ahead. And go ahead and post it, and I'll show it. Any shout outs to the people that helped you, some of the actors on Invisible Brown Man?
Yeah, I mean, Luke Barnett, he was amazing. He was the casting director. He killed it. Of course, the girl that played my sister, Richard Murjani, she's a friend as well. She's on Never Have I Ever on Netflix. But the father, I mean, he's a scene stealer, Sunil Nirkar, he was my first acting teacher before I even moved to LA. It's randomly. So it's just full circle for him to play my father in that. And he just murdered it. He was incredible.
Here's a question for you. There's a question on the board. What's the most interesting audience that you performed in front of?
I used to do a lot of South Asian, like Indian conventions and things like that. So that was always interesting to connect with people that were my parents' age. And really, I felt like I was speaking to them, but I was really speaking to my parents, but it was to like 1,000 people. And really speaking on the perspective of how they raised us and a lot of the trauma they instilled in us. It was all comedy, but I'm like, you guys messed us up. Like, you really messed us up. Like, in our culture, they would just send you away without even asking you. They were like, yeah, you're going to India for 4 months. You're like, wait, what? Like, you were just like a baggage, like carry on, They just send you off like that messes you up. And things like that. So it was always really cool to be a voice in that regard. But then my show, man, like Daniel's been there when I was doing comedy, barefoot comedy at Mystic Journey Yoga in Venice. It was in a yoga studio. Just to be able to do a show for a year and a half like that at once a month, having such a wide amount of like the audience was all different types of people, all different demographics, all over the place. It was always different comedians. So for me, that was an highlight. It was always interesting to perform in that type of environment, a healing space with no shoes. It wasn't a bunch of drunk people heckling you. So that's an audience I like. I like an intelligent audience. I like an audience that's sober, that's actually listening to what you have to say and taking it in. You know, I appreciate an audience that 50% are laughing and 50% are kind of like, huh? Like, I'm cool with that. I like an audience that thinks. Like, you know, that's equally important as much as the laughter. Is like, did I make you question something? You know, even
one
if
of the cool things, one of the cool things of barefoot comedy was the laughs were honest.
yeah,
It's not like at a bar where if they slightly think you're funny, they'll just laugh, and you can hear the manic laugh in the background. You're like, okay, I know that wasn't that funny. And but at barefoot, because people were sober, well, not drunk, it was a very honest energy. It was very true feedback, and I really enjoyed that.
I mean, that's what I love about comedy. That's the only art form you really get that. You're the writer, producer, director, performer, and you're all the parts, and you get immediate feedback. Either it worked or it didn't, and it's momentary. You know, it's you get immediate response.
I don't want to let go of, because it's a typical every one of my shows. It's standard words of wisdom. So, Mr. Pritesh Shah, what words of wisdom can you share with the audience?
If it's meant to be yours, it can't be taken. If it's not, it can't be had.
I like that. That's very good. Love and Tells You Humor, you got a new fan.
I appreciate it, brother.
Steven.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Not because he's a friend of mine, and not because he's on the show, and like it's not. I don't have the brown nose. I'm already brown, but
There you go.
Yeah, there's always that.
That's what's up.
Stop having such great guests. I know, man. The last string of guests have been amazing. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for watching. And we have 3 really awesome people tomorrow. So make sure you catch us tomorrow at 12, 2, and 5. We have 3 shows tomorrow. So make sure you
Jeez, you're a busy man.
Well, you know, I was going to say, not because you're a friend, and you know I love you. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so impressed with everything. And you motivate me. I tell this to all my friends, like, that I really love. Like, I'm in this competition, but not a bad. It's like a silvering. Like, what is he doing? Like, how in my career, in my life, how can I keep moving? So
Yeah.
you inspire me, and you motivate me,
Well, I'm glad, man. Likewise.
I don't know if it's because I don't have brothers, but you're one of those energies in my life that
Has to
I
give
like.
you shit.
Huh?
Has to give you a little shit too, you know?
Yeah, but I like coming when I come to visit you. I like coming with like, hey, dude, look what I did. Like, it's even though I'm older than you, I look up to you.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. It's all love.
Don't worry, Stephen. If for everybody watching, if you're at work, these are on replay. You can watch these on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So all you have to do is just scroll
You
through.
got everything covered, brother.
You will find all the shows along with the comments. So if you're missing a show, go back and watch them. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you like our page, Put Together Conversations. If you're on LinkedIn, just follow me, and you will get all the notifications for the shows. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor, scroll down, smash that subscribe button, and like this video. And then on Twitter, you can just retweet it and hashtag Put Together Conversations, and make sure that you get more notifications about this. Yeah. Don't worry, we got you covered, and we've got some really great guests coming up. We're booked right now all the way to June. So if you are watching this and you want to be on the show, whatever channel you're watching us, private message me, and I will get you some information so that we have the Calendly calendar, so you can go and book what date you want, what hour you want. But we're open. I'm always if you think you have a put it together story and you want to share with the audience, just get in touch and we'll make sure that you get on the show.
Cool, brother.
But yeah, no. One of the beautiful things, again, it's about putting the energy, and like you say that your video is being like watched so many times, and like I'm so proud that you have to be proud of yourself first. I feel like nobody's going to be proud of you more than you can you, and I'm proud of myself because people are now referring people. I'm like, hey, I went to your Calendly and I booked a friend of mine on your show. Like he's going to be on there. I'm like, oh man, like I don't know who your friend is, but yes, let's interview him. Let's see what the story's about. So for anybody watching, I'm just saying that if you put your heart into your work and you put that type of energy into it, people will receive it.
It's reflected back, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got about 4 more minutes to go. Anything else you want to talk about that we did not talk about?
No, that's about it, man. Just living life. It's cool.
So question for me. So when we're all able to reunite again, any chance of bringing back Barefoot Comedy?
We're in talks for that. We probably need to find a new space though, because the old space is obviously no longer there because of the pandemic. So
Are you talking about him being on Arsenio or Arsenio coming on my show? Do you know Arsenio? Have him come on my show? Yeah.
Yes, dude. What's up? But I'm going to be doing a lot more stand-up probably as it opens up. Just when it's actually you can have fun with it and a fuller audience. So when it's safe to do that, I'm excited about that. But outside of that, man, I'm just enjoying myself. I've been so busy with getting all this stuff together and learning so much on what I need to pitch a show. It's a lot of work. It's exciting, but it's a lot of work. Because it's just it's the first time for me. So luckily I've met a lot of partners and people to help me along that path. But that's basically all I'm doing right now. And of course auditioning and stuff and enjoying and living life, man.
When your show goes to TV, Netflix or wherever, I'm just gonna say this. I think it's gonna need a little Mexican friend in there.
Yeah. Orale. You got it. You got it.
For you, I will sell fruit.
I know. I'm not already having you in as a fruit vendor. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna make sure you wear the same outfit as you do with the other stuff too, Doc.
Okay. Before you go, we have one more question.
So all my social media is at the Pritesh Shah.
The Pritesh Shah, because if you just Google Pritesh Shah, there's like hundreds of Pritesh Shah.
Yeah, but you type that Pritesh Shah and hopefully you found the film on YouTube. It's easy. It's Invisible Brown Man.
Yeah, and we've already put the link for everybody watching. Cool. We put the link on there so you can go. Where would I find you? Or where would I find you?
Me?
Yeah. Do you have a website or do you just?
thepriteshshah.com, Instagram, the Pritesh Shah. Everything's the Pritesh Shah. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. All of those, all the above.
And don't worry, folks. As things progress, I'm sure he'll be back on the show.
Hell yeah! Anytime.
I'll just show up with my phone and put him on.
Exactly. I'm there. I got you,
brother. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate you being on the show.
Likewise, man. Thanks for having me. I always have a good time.
For everybody watching, remember we are stupid autocorrect. Oh, cool.
Yeah, my name always autocorrects to protest.
Protest.
Yeah, it's a protection protest. I'm like, that's fair. I'll take that. Yeah, I'm protesting the way we live life. I'm cool with that.
So for everybody watching, this has been Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Danny J. Garza. My guest today was the amazing Mr. Pritesh Shah. Go check him out. If you missed the video, and I know it played a little jerky, we will have the link so you guys can folks. If you're following any of the threads, it's the video link is on the thread, so go check it out. Fingers crossed, we'll see him. We will see more of him. And as soon as we can visit and we can start putting those shows together, maybe their pre-show shows will come back too. You never know.
Absolutely, brother. I'm always down.
Now, I want to thank all of you watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you for your support. This is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together. And we'll see you folks next time.
See you guys. Bye-bye.